tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everyone. That was so good, you guys. Even though we're missing one, darn it.
Still good, though.
Welcome, AfterBuzzers, to another edition of the Whispers After Show here at AfterBuzz TV. We're talking Season 1, Episode 10. It's Episode 10, Darkest Fears. All these titles, actually, they're starting to, drive me nuts a little bit. Because I'm like, what? Well, I mean, okay, whatever. I guess
the
Darkest
worst
Fears.
omen we can possibly title this episode.
Anyway, if you're not already subscribing, please hit that subscribe button right underneath me. And if you're listening to us, right underneath me. Or you, whatever. And if you're listening on iTunes or SoundCloud, thank you. And give us all the glorious ratings, 5 stars, and comment, and chat, and interact. And we have so many people in chat, so before I introduce who I am, let me say hello to all of you first. We've got KJ James Wheeler, hello. The Slacker Elite, welcome. We've got Sylvia Love, we've got Glorified Gleek, and who am I missing? And that's, welcome all of you, and we might get a few more as the evening progresses. I'm your host, Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean. We're missing Lauren this week, but that's okay, because I've got these two.
And she's getting married.
She's getting married. All right, but who are you, lovely ladies?
Hey everyone, it's Francesca, and you can find me Twitter, Instagram, XOXOCESCA.
And I'm April Whisenhant. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant.
Yay! Okay, initial thoughts, April.
You'll know what I've been waiting for, and this makes me really sad that Lauren's not here.
Oh, yes.
Somebody done died tonight.
We don't really know that, totally.
And her name rhymes with Gina.
I mean, okay, go on.
I don't want to say I'm happy about it, but I always say, when they're about to, seriously maim or kill someone in a show, because they always make them have that, I don't know if y'all watch
glorious
Revenge.
Interaction or something?
Yeah, I don't know if y'all watch Revenge, but, Daniel, right before he died, he totally redeemed himself, and, one of my all-time...
Spoiler alert! No, just kidding, go on.
If you're not, too bad if you haven't seen it.
You're late.
In Desperate Housewives, in the big scene with him, a character has, his moment with his wife and everything. So whenever they had that little interaction, come home, and he's like, oh, okay, like a doofus. I'm like, oh, something's about to go down.
Something's about to go down. Okay, Francesca, thoughts?
Well, I have to say, so the title's Darkest Fears, right? And,
yes.
I actually was a little bit scared in this episode, and I'm
was.
kind of embarrassed to admit it, because I don't like when you don't know what's gonna happen. And you know how when they were in the school or whatever, it was abandoned high school, they were going around. I'm like, what the heck? Something's gonna pop out. I even kind of leaned a little bit towards April.
I'll protect you.
I don't do the suspense part, and I was surprised that it actually got me, because you guys know I'm kind of not digging. It's not believable, but this really got me scared. So that was cool.
I have to say, this episode, I was doing a lot of. No. What? No.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
What are you
That's
doing?
what I was doing. It was not.
Right?
Anyway. All right. So we meet this new kid, Nicholas. And by the way, did you guys think he looked 10?
He also looked like Henry, just bigger.
He looked like Henry.
He looked like he ate Henry.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I could see
I
that.
don't really know what 10-year-olds look like.
I don't know either, but he looked like past Drill's threshold of child
I thought
to
so
me.
too. But I think he was, because whenever we first meet him, he's the only one who's been negative to Drill at first, because in that first scene where he's in the bed and the mom and dad come in, he's like, this guy or this thing, I forget what he says, is trying to talk to me, and he seems creeped out and weirded out by it. And all the other kids are just like, cool, he's gonna do me a favor.
Right.
So I think he was maybe, or he was on that the threshold that they talked about at the beginning of the show, maybe.
But what was it that got Nicholas on board was he was about to get his butt kicked.
I was like, where are we going with this?
I was like, how should I say this?
His arse.
He was gonna get his arse kicked, and Drill kind of saves the day and scares off these kids.
Electrocuting the other kids.
Totally almost electrocuted that kid.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he was like, well, since he said, thank you for saving me, now I'll save you, or whatever.
What kids talk like that?
Yeah. Nicholas talks like
the
that.
kid. It looked like he was talking to a snake. That's what I thought of. Like, it was like a cobra, and when they do the snake thingies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Snake charmers.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah. The snake
Like,
shaman. Yeah. So anyway, and then we kind of didn't know where this was going to be headed, what exactly Nicholas was going to do. But as their relationship was blossoming, we learn. Well, I guess it's not that we learn, but we learn by deduction because Claire and Wes kind of figure out that they need to their plan of attack needs to change, and they need to like drain him out.
Right.
Well, Wes talked to, was it Wes? Yeah, they talked to the scientist guy.
Yes.
And he said, oh, he's actually decreasing his energy's decreasing, which is crazy because he's there with a whole bunch of lights, and the doctor, geeky scientist says, it's because maybe it's a different atmosphere and all that. So they realize that there's a different way that they can attack him.
Yes. Although I guess
too easy though.
It makes sense in a way, obviously, because the initial things that he was after was like the nuclear plant and like really big things of energy. So perhaps all these other areas he's targeting, it's just
meaningless lights.
There you go.
But
it's not enough.
I'm still confused by this part though. So they just thought they were going to trap him in a place without lights and wait until he goes out?
Right. So, what they were trying to do, because they know that he travels through electricity,
right?
If they could figure out where he was in the electrical grid and start removing the electricity from that, he would have to like go to the next possible place where there was electricity.
Right.
So they were funneling him. They figured out they should funnel him to this school
but
because
for what? To trap it until
to trap him and drain him out. So like for instance, if he was there and there was no, he's kind of stuck there. Right, exactly. He'd be kind of stuck and dying. And they would like watch it happen, I guess, because they had all those thermal, although the thermal thing had
electricity in
it seemed like
and their lights right outside of the school also.
April was like, what, are they gonna vacuum him up? And I was like, yes, Ghostbusters.
That would have been so cool, actually. I would have been a big proponent of that. I would have accepted that.
It just kind of didn't make sense to me at the time because, I forget his name now, but the character who killed Drill before,
Thomas,
he said like you have to kill Drill. It's not. I know that he was like losing energy, but he was also losing energy with electricity all around at the same time. So were they thinking that he was literally just they were going to get him in this place with no electricity and that he was just going to eventually fizzle out? That's what they were thinking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He was just going to kind of be done. He was going to shrivel and die. Shrivel and dissipate. I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's interesting. But the thing that I think also confused me, so one of the tasks that Nicholas had was to get into his father's lockbox or his safe and get the Deep Space Network code. So his father, we figured out, works for the Deep Space Network.
Right.
Now the correlation between why
we don't
Drill
know
wanted
yet.
the codes. Yeah, they didn't really go into that, right?
Well, it's because to get into there, they were saying that the codes change daily. And so I think he's trying to find a way to communicate back with his peeps and be like, I'm dying, save more.
Me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or maybe like, beam me up, Scotty,
Beam me up. Please.
But yeah, so passwords change daily. And so, Claire was like, well, he can figure it out anyway. So I think that's why he pinpointed him.
So he gets the codes and... of course, he ends up in the location that Drill asks him to be, some kind of a park, but they pulled all the electricity from that area already. And then, of course, the bullies show up, and we think, oh, God, it's going to happen again, and now Drill's not there to save him. But instead, no. Instead, they were like, we got your back. Drill's a friend, or whatever they said. I don't know.
He said it so like cheesily.
Yes.
I mean, the child actor was great. Yes, absolutely. But it was a cheesy line. I literally felt like it was like, go ahead, Nicholas, and do your job.
Do as you will.
Drill told me you were pretty great.
Yeah.
I know. I was like,
all right.
Oh god! When that moment happened, I was like, oh.
I definitely thought he was about to get clocked though. And then the
Initially.
kid like grins.
Yeah, I was
All
like,
right.
that's
okay.
when Nicholas should have went like, oh, cool.
Well,
This payback.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm looking in chat.
Hello, chat.
I know. Hello, chat. So they're very active right now. They're talking a lot about actually minks. Which we will get there. So anywho's, they all end up.
Twitter.
They see Nicholas inside the school. Wes and Claire.
First of all, how did he get in there?
I'm sure there must have been like a side door or something silly. Like if we asked them that, they'd say, "Oh yeah, there was an
Maybe
open
the
side
code
door."
was to that too.
Right?
I'm totally
Okay,
kidding.
I was
Yeah,
like,
no,
I don't think so.
whatsoever.
I don't know. I mean, hey, with this show, you never freaking know, right? With this show, it could be anything. So they see Nicholas inside, and then we must save him. And against the Secretary of Defense's orders, even though he was like, you are going against me. He used a better word than that. That is not coming to mind.
Insubordinate.
There you
go. And Wes is like, yes, I know it is. Because he's just so good like that.
I love Wes too, but that line was cheesy.
Oh, yeah.
He was like,
oh, really,
yes,
Francesca?
I am.
Yeah,
He didn't even say yes, sir.
Yes,
Come
sir.
on.
So, and then of course Claire follows them in. They both go in to try looking for this Nicholas kid, and that actually, things did get creepy. I agree with you.
Dude, I'm telling you, I
was
don't
creepy.
do well with those kind of things. I'm like ducking
She literally
and
said, she's
crouching.
Like, I'm kind of scared.
Well, especially because they only had like their thermal cameras on, so it was like pitch black. Just like, what heat signatures are you seeing?
Right. I thought Wes was gonna turn around and was gonna be like, yeah.
This is totally off topic, but I have to say it. It reminded me of that scene from Step Brothers. You know, have y'all seen that movie?
Yes.
Where they have the night vision goggles on.
Yes.
And Will Ferrell says, you know what the best thing about them is? They're not even that noticeable on your face.
And it's like they're coming out this big. I know. It's like, how much more noticeable can they possibly get?
Side step.
What did you think though? So when Wes ended up in the room with Drill, he saw that Drill was there kind of stuck. And it was as though Drill like zapped energy from his...
Right. And the whole time the Secretary of Defense and everyone else are watching, they're like, how is he moving? Or maybe Wes says that actually. But how is he moving?
Drill.
Because there's no electricity for him to move through.
Anywhere.
So
Yeah.
how is he?
Maybe
know.
from the lights outside or something.
Is
He
it
has
like
to travel through
a
it.
byproduct of like leftover energy maybe trickling?
Maybe. I'm sure it's like something simple like that. But whenever they walked in and they're like, oh, we have to split up because, you know.
I know. I was
who
like,
knows
don't
when
do that.
No.
Don't do that.
That's the worst idea.
I'm with you. I was like, what's happening? Why would you do that? And then, of course, so Claire then goes off and she's the one that ends up chasing after Nicholas. And I was having similar feelings. Like, oh no, where are they going? Oh no, what's going to happen?
I was definitely like, you know, kind of on the edge of my seat at that point as well. But I'm also like, this kid is clearly leading you somewhere.
I know.
Like he's not running away from you and like running downstairs like outside of the building. He's like going through a bathroom, through a hallway, like secret hallway. Like he's leading you somewhere.
Totally.
So at that point, I get you want to save the kid, but also like, don't be an idiot.
Don't be an idiot. Glorified Gleek said, as soon as we saw the kid in the building, I was like, do not go in. We agree with you. Yes. We agree.
I was thinking that he might have been already possessed at that time.
Interesting. And that's, I mean, totally possible because we had never really seen the whole possession thing happen, so it's not like that couldn't have happened.
Because I was like, how did he get into the building? So I thought maybe he somehow got on Nicholas and then that's how he got into the building. But clearly I was wrong.
So they end up in a room, and actually the room that Nicholas was kind of shuttling Claire to, and Wes ended up in there.
Of course.
I didn't understand why that room was so important. Outside of, it looked like maybe there was like light from one window coming in, or I don't know.
Maybe.
But I didn't understand the point of that room. It just didn't seem...
Yeah. When he's like, I told you I would get them here. Okay, you could have left them in the front room.
Right.
Like, yeah, I don't really know.
So that part I was,
Okay, I had a couple, like you were saying, a couple of moments this episode that I was like, what?
Yeah.
This was one, but only because he says, he's, talking to her, I told you I'd get him here, and then he goes, I don't want to do this anymore, make him stop.
Right.
But you're sitting there, like, listening to him. Make up your mind, Chad.
Right. I know. I was like, this is really I was getting frustrated, I must say. I was getting frustrated. So then, of course, I saw this coming. Of course, Drill was going in for the possession.
Right.
He was gonna take over Nicholas. And there was a part of me that was like, good, get this kid out of this show.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
I
was too. But I don't think it was a full-on possession.
Well,
obviously it ended up not being, but I don't think that's necessarily the way that Drill might possess someone, because think about it, the kid, Thomas's brother who died, that he had possessed before,
right?
I mean, I guess maybe there's a time period, like when someone turns into a werewolf, it hurts at first and then it feels better.
Yeah, totally.
So maybe this would have eventually gone away if the kid had survived it, but I think it was just Drill, testing them, because not testing them, but basically forcing them to let him out, because the whole time the kid is saying to them, Drill says that you always lie to us because you're too busy doing your own things. And I think it was like part of the plan of him saying that, like making them feel, really empathetic. Of course, as a child, they clearly don't want the child to die, even though the Secretary of Defense is like, peace, kid.
I was saying that too, actually. I was like, peace, kid. Yeah. You gotta go.
Someone's got to sacrifice.
Wes is just too good to do that.
That was really annoying, actually. So as Wes was talking to the Secretary of Defense and that whole exchange was happening, no, and trying to influence the president to make the call to turn the lights back on and all that stuff, I was like, don't be stupid. What? Yeah. You're talking
we could have ended this.
Yeah, exactly. But
I don't think so.
3 more episodes left.
I don't think so.
Yeah, right.
This is where I had my second problem of this part. Is that if Drill's whole purpose is to take over a body, why did he not finish? Why, when the lights came back on, he was like...
I think because in terms of energetically, he needed... I don't know. That's a good question. I was thinking the lights were more of an energy refresher than taking over the body. I don't know.
He's like a bug. Go straight to the light.
Yeah. My answer to it is semi a prediction, but it's kind of is, but it's also kind of an answer.
Okay.
It's because I don't think that Nicholas was the person who he wants to possess.
Because it's Minx.
No. Oh. Why is Henry? What's the first thing?
Headaches.
Yes.
I know.
The first thing that Nicholas said is, my head hurts. And Henry's been complaining about it all day long.
I'm trying not to accept this.
Mysterious. So that's why I think that was just a test. He just wanted to get out of that building, and he just needed to pretend like he was going to, possess this kid to the form of he's going to die unless you let me out.
And he did get out. And they let Nicholas. Nicholas was released. They turned the power back on. I do want to talk about that, though. So Henry's headaches. I do not accept this, for one. And 2, I also... I was going to say, do you think they'd make it that obvious? And I'm like, maybe they would.
But see, I don't think Henry's that obvious, because to me, Henry's the kid who's the most,
awesome.
I think Minx would be the most obvious.
Minx is the most obvious because she's so, diabolical.
Devilish.
But, Henry, even though he obviously has done stuff for Drill, he still has that okay, what's right and wrong, because you have to think about it. Whenever he was on his mission for Drill, he didn't really do anything bad to his knowledge. Other kids have done things that this is gonna be bad, but he was just going into some tube. He didn't know what he was doing. And that's why I think he's a good person, because he still, I don't know, he seems to have the aspects of someone that Drill would really want to possess.
So Sylvia Love just said, that's true, Henry is next. I do want to say, real fast, back to the whole Nicholas storyline. So Slacker Elite said, well, he would lose a lot of mobility, Drill, and be vulnerable in a kid's body. So that's true. I mean, he's got more freedom of electricity. Anywho, so speaking of Henry, he and his dad end up at the hospital with good old Dr.
Maria.
Yep. And
Maria.
That was not an accent, just so you guys know.
Sure.
And we kind of don't get any resolution yet.
That was weird.
With all that, it was just kind of take the kid away from this part of this storyline.
Right.
And they end up in a car back home. It plays into the whole, like, being clued into all that was happening at the school. Like, I don't know.
Or they were stuck in the blackout.
Well, they ended up being stuck in the blackout because Sean tipped off Wes and Claire that Drill was in that grid, part of the grid. Anyway, so Sean makes like a ridiculous decision to kind of like
go on the sidewalk.
Hey, let's all still strive now because that seems like a good idea.
As soon as he took off, I'm like, where do you think you're about to go?
I know.
Now?
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, this is not going to bode well.
Yeah.
And then immediately, boom, they get into like it seemed like a major, like they saw the light kind of a car accident.
Yeah, right.
At least that's what we
saw
led to believe.
We were led to believe. I literally thought Henry died.
Oh, I did too.
Okay,
what did you think? The third?
Yeah, this is my third. Why did that big scary looking guy come out of nowhere and be like, what are you guys doing out here?
Yeah, that was strange.
Isn't that what happens all the time?
Yeah, that happens all the time. I don't know.
I'm totally kidding. I think things are like very set up in this episode. Like, I think even though he was a random guy, I actually think he probably will end up serving a purpose. Because even like the guy who we see take Lena and Minxie Cat home, that he clearly had a purpose. He's up to something. So I think that this guy is maybe kind of in the same situation.
That doesn't make sense
But
either.
like,
I mean,
my thing is, hey, are you guys okay? Instead, it's like, what are you guys doing out here?
Right.
Can't you see we just got in a freaking car accident?
Yeah. I was really surprised based on kind of whatever they insinuated happened. I was surprised that Sean was like, I can get out of the car. And then at the end when they got home that Henry was just walking around like totally fine. I was like, oh.
But the first thing he said whenever he woke up was, my head still hurts.
Yeah.
See, I have a prediction, but I'm going to keep it for predictions.
Okay, keep that for predictions. So also simultaneously, Lena and Minx, Lena decides better to get out of town right now and get Minx into an environment that doesn't have any telephone poles, electricity, whatever, so decides, let's take Minx on a cruise.
Yes, let's go in the middle
safe.
of the ocean. Totally.
We'll be safe.
Good thing they didn't go.
They end up seeing on the news when they were at their
like
docking,
the terminal or whatever.
the terminal of the cruise. Oh, there's a blackout in DC. And see, I thought I had issue with that too, in the sense of, you don't think that
the cruise
Wes was gonna say something to, like, hey, FYI, I don't know, just FYI, stuff's gonna happen, I'll be fine.
Well, he didn't. But
no, he
also,
didn't.
like, don't you think the first thing to do is like, hey, what's up with this blackout in DC? Not like, oh, we're canceling the cruise.
I know,
Let's
we're
go
just not
home.
going. Like, his phone still works. You could have called him, right?
I think she did try, and it went straight to
Then call Claire.
voicemail.
Call someone that you know he's with.
Right.
I'm just saying. By the way, can we also
make the best decision? So
is it strange to you that we totally just glossed over the whole murder storyline? Like the fact that
it's like done.
It's done. Like
she
shot the guy.
I forgot right now.
She's going on a cruise.
That's what murderers do.
They go on a cruise. I thought that was weird. I took issue with that. I was like,
maybe we'll go back. Well, no, we won't, because
yeah, okay, so as we continue on this storyline, they decide not to go on the cruise. They end up hitching a ride with some random guy who appears like he might just be like a grandpa or something going back into town.
It's a little too convenient.
It was very convenient. I agree.
It's still like, kids, listen to your parents. Don't take the candy from the man in the car who's offering it to you. And I get like the man was just trying to be nice, but this is you don't take a ride from a total stranger. I mean, because chances are you gonna get killed.
Anyway, and of course, like when they get to the house, Lena was like, I thought you were a psycho killer. And I was like, oh my gosh, really? You just said that out loud?
And then I was expecting to say, I am.
Yeah, I
know. Or you at least, you never take them to your front door.
No.
Go
drop
to
them
the
drop me off at Denny's or something, right?
Like, I got it from here, I'll call a cab.
We're going to get a bite to eat. We're good.
Yeah.
I was shocked. And then, of course, we see him in his car writing their names down, and he's already written down Henry, Sean, and Claire's name. So who the hell is this guy?
I don't know.
I'm like, chat, who the hell is this guy? Anyway, so they go inside, and Drill operates the refrigerator to start running all the water.
But before this is when Lena and Sean
they have a moment on the phone. They do.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, also, okay, so before that, in like a random thing, and you can tell it's kind of like painting them both to say this. Wes says to Claire, Sean's a really good guy. I'm glad this is happening.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, yeah, it took me losing him. And then he said something similar to Claire, but like you can tell he doesn't necessarily really mean it. But then
They still wanted to get in each other's pantalones.
They did. Yeah. I thought so too. Yes.
For sure. But then finally with Lena, when she calls him to say, or he's like, hey, have you left yet? Whatever. And she's like, no, we're home. And it was it was the most awkward thing because she's like smiling. She's like, no, he came home. And I thought he was going to be upset that they were at home because I felt like he was happy that they were going on the cruise because they thought it was safer. And he's like, okay. And then you see like, oh, things are great. We miss you. Blah, blah, blah. And Minx, the camera pans up to her like sitting on the stairs just listening. So like, what was she doing?
At that moment, I was like, Drill was like, good, you did this. You bringing them, like you brought your mom home. Like she was, I felt like
because she said she wanted to go home because she didn't want to leave Dad.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying it felt like, how Drill promises them things and all she wants is like her family to be together.
Right. So then why would the next scene occur?
It's her punishment. But I don't think she was because she stopped talking to Drill, remember? And he didn't want her to stop talking to him.
So the Drill took Lena out of the equation so that they could resume contact?
Maybe. Or he's like, okay, you didn't listen to me. You didn't do what I said.
He was just listening to Lauren. Lauren didn't want Lena, remember?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, who's Lauren?
Oh, I was like...
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
I was like, wait, I don't remember Lauren on the show. Okay, on our show.
Our host, Lauren.
Got it. Yes. No, so that whole scene, though, where Lena was electrocuted by the water and the...
0 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm also like, okay, that's really cold. So why is the water running right now?
The whole thing, I don't know. And then, of course, Wes gets home and Minx is just staring like a zombie.
I don't know. It
What
won't,
the
like,
heck?
Move. Won't move at all.
Nothing.
He's
So it's like,
shaking her
wait,
face.
is she possessed now? Was she taken out? What? But then she had a reaction after she started crying. So I'm like, okay, maybe no,
Yeah,
you're fine.
While looking up at the power lines.
At the power line, right? So anyway, we're thinking Lena is allegedly dead at this point. We don't know.
She
because,
seemed it, or she seemed brain dead.
My first thing was, why aren't you calling anyone? You're just like laying
Thank
there,
you.
holding her, letting her continue to die if
But
she's
it was
not
such
already.
a good scene for him because he was so sad.
He was so sad. I didn't like any of it. I have to say, I was like, this is bizarre to me. I didn't anyway. Yeah, it was very campy, that scene. I agree.
Campy?
Yeah, it was just like, a little forced. I think Drill killed Lena because Wes got so close to stopping him, says Glorified Gleek, and that's totally possible. And by the way, Slacker Elite had a comment about, where is it? Oh, when I made the comment about Lena killing the kid, technically no.
Yeah.
She shot him, but the kid killed him. But still, she shot him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
She
no
shot him.
punishment, nothing.
She shot to kill.
She shot. Yeah, she did shoot to kill. Because how many bullets went into that little big guy? That little big guy. Anywho, yeah. So TBD with Lena, I guess.
TBD.
Yeah, TBC.
TBC with Lena. Just because who knows? It could be like another play for Drill to test Minx again.
Right.
Okay, did I miss anything with this episode before we go into predictions?
I don't think so.
I'm looking into comments to just see if there was any... Minx was in shock, Sylvia Love said. Yeah, that's true.
Predictions.
Oh, okay, let's do them.
Hey,
That's a new...
hey.
Wait, is that a different...
Your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Oh, wow.
right.
That's a very festive one,
Okay.
I must
It
say.
is.
All right,
I'm ready to go.
Francesca is rearing to go.
Go.
So I have two that kind of bleed into each other. So my first thought was that, we were talking about Henry saying he has the headaches, that he's already being possessed either by Drill has spread out his like energy, and maybe that's why his energy is low, is because he's spreading it out, or he somehow contacted the peeps back home and they're coming here, like something else already got here, and they're taking over the children. And then I just thought about right now with Minx, how she was staying there all crazy and possessed, like something might have been taking over her. And then I thought
they're all being taken over.
And then I thought about I was like, where's that coming from? And then I thought about the preview for next week's episode, where they're like, which one of these kids is, like, we don't know which is the one. So what if they're all just freaking possessed?
Because they're like, okay, in order to kill me, you got to kill them all.
Like, he spread, like, Henry's only getting headaches. Minx is only just paralyzed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it's being spread out.
I was going to say I agree with the first portion of that, but now that makes sense too. I was thinking that Drill is like in the full-on possession stage of Henry, and that's why he's just kind of experiencing it slowly, and he's not like, oh, it's so hot, and because I was thinking like maybe Henry is like, or I still think that Henry is like the kid, like it was Thomas's brother. But and that he's like split himself up, so that's why it's been
that he's lessening his energy.
But it also makes sense for him to kind of like put a little bit in each child, because that means it's like a Horcrux. That means in order for
look at you, April. Okay.
In order for them to kill him, they would have to kill all the children. I think Mink's death had something to do with Mama Lena's death, but.
Slacker Elite said, Drill could bring Lena back just to show Wes who he's dealing with.
That's true.
And then Glorified Gleek said, if I were Wes, I wouldn't want her back.
I concur with that.
Yikes.
Ooh, Lauren would also concur with that.
Wait, we did forget something.
What did we forget?
Claire and Sean.
They got it on.
Now,
did that seem forced to you, or did that seem...
It seems
forced to
like
you?
It's time.
It's time. Well, it's definitely time.
Yeah.
It's definitely time. I like the relationship. I like where it's headed. I do. Because I don't know. It feels forced everywhere, I think. I don't know. It does feel a little... Anyway, by the way, someone in chat, I can't find it. I think it might have been Slacker Elite, but said something about the guy that drove Lena and Minx. It's possible that he was similar to how Sean's body was taken over by like a higher force. Perhaps it was something like that.
Okay. That makes sense.
Maybe. So I think maybe for next week, I don't know if we're going to get any answers on that, actually. I'm hoping we do, because they just introduced a character that's writing people's names down.
Yeah.
He's a very meticulous note taker.
Yeah, he's definitely got a notepad with him. But obviously we're going to explore some more kid possession.
I'm excited.
Some more children being possessed.
I like to possess kids in my lifetime.
I just really want them to figure out one of them.
Yes.
Don't make it Henry.
Well, do you think they're going to end up really killing a child?
Well,
No.
clearly
I
the
don't
president
think so.
had issue killing Nicholas, so I'm thinking no. Ugh, this is all so frustrating. I feel like I'm frustrated right now. I'm
I know, me
sorry.
too.
I'm like
We'll figure out more.
All right. Well, I guess that does it for this week. It's been interesting.
It's been electrifying.
Thank you for look at you, Francesca. Everyone, thank you for joining us. I've been your host, Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean. And where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram, XOXOCESCA.
Y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant.
Thank you all for joining us. We will see you next week for episode 11. Ciao, everyone. Bye.
10 plus 1, 11.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.